feeling that today's episode is gonna have a special kind of spice to it, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
I am I am so much it's not we haven't even reached June 10th. We're about a week into June, and already it is just, oh my gosh. It is I I am the kind of guy who I had to learn kind of learn the social learn social context.
Hmm.
Um, so for me as a child, I know it's kind of hard to believe, but I was the loud, obnoxious kid, as weird as that would sound, and right, and so I had to learn, you know, social context and learn how to um learn how to frame things correctly.
Right.
And I have never seen a more tone deaf announcement than the esports awards. Oh my god. It's June 7th. They announced it June. You would think, oh my gosh, you announced it on a Friday, nobody cares. But wait, it's Pride Month. And they announced that they've signed a 3-year deal to host the esports awards in Riyadh. And go ahead.
Yeah, it's just I knew June was going to be a fun month. Not just because of Pride, not because of all, people doing Rainbow Club things, but it's just we're not even a week. As of this recording, it's June fucking 8th. 1 week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And never mind about Riot desperately making their Pride tweets. Have you guys seen that shit? Yeah. Yeah. Like, they're trying to use the LGBT of, like, let's gank bot team. Come on. And on top of that, how mysteriously nobody else is criticizing them about their esports World Cup decision? And all of their replies to that are just gone?
I okay. I met Golden Boy a while back.
Mm-hmm.
The one and only TwitchCon that I ever went to. I happened to kind of bump into him one time.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely kind dude, and every time I have watched any of his streams, he's just energetic and he cares about the gaming community and he wants people to enjoy what they do when it comes to gaming and be involved. And you know that you've lost the room when Golden Boy backs out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's he's that borderline corporate shill kind of a guy. Very genuine, very kind.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Golden Boy. Everybody. So you know that you've screwed up when Golden Boy's like, I'm out. Can't do it. Can't do it.
And it's not the fact that it's not even that screw up. I think it's to the point where it's like they just don't care anymore because they realize that the DEI is not marketable anymore. Because like as we've seen the past few months, a lot of layoffs has been coming from those divisions and corporations. So now they're starting to see that okay, we can't make money off this because they keep asking for more than what they give to us. So we have to figure out a new way to get money.
Mm-hmm.
And and as you've seen from the esports winner, the Rainbow Club don't really spend money on merch like that. They don't really support the esports organization like that. I mean, so it's like that was like, that was like the end game
Mm-hmm.
with that, and you have to remember, esports started out as a meritocracy. That is the foundation of esports. It's meritocracy. Basically, is that the best of the best get the best opportunities in the best locations. That's how it's always been. Like in the whole the DEI thing. Now it was just a mask. It was just a mask that they wore for a couple of years Now the mask is starting to get a little wary. They gotta take it off now, and they gotta say, you know what? Like, yes, people are going to go to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to participate in these games. Cause you know what? Because guess what? As we said time and time again, your morals and your outrage is for sale, and Riyadh has the funds to buy it.
Yep. 110%. Like I was having this conversation with my husband, and I actually am. This is a statistic I'm genuinely curious, and it involves our major overlords, Disney, because you know they're doing great with Star Wars right now. There's an interesting statistic I was very curious about is annual pass holders. I know this is a complete side conjecture from what we were talking about.
Yep.
But it also applies to the DEI because, you know, they were all about Rainbow Club and inclusivity and funny magic words.
Right.
Yeah, here, pay us money, you know, shit like that.
That's good. I like that.
So the one interesting statistic I was actually curious about is annual pass holders for Disney. I was actually curious about the amount of people who are a part of the Rainbow Club who have actually purchased annual passes as opposed to not. It's an interesting thought because we have seen that whatever Disney concocted because they thought that that was a viable market of people,
right,
is out the fucking window.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. And so it's the same kind of principle with esports. It's like, how many people are actually buying this shit? How many people, how many pro players, for that fact, who are invested in this esports, how many fit into that demographic? It's like, it's this weird ADHD fucking laden thought process I've been on for like the past week. Because I really think the DEI pool is dried up. I really wish that the Saudi Arabia thing for the esports awards was some fucking sick joke.
Right. Well, and see, this goes back to what I said about it. I think I said it last week.
Mm-hmm.
This ideology, this whole belief set, this is a luxury belief because it actually creates no value.
Right.
So it must exist in a space that has excess.
Mm-hmm.
When the excess is gone, things of lower value get gradually pulled away because you need to extract the value as much as you can out of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Our ability as a society right now, not just this country, but overall, to how do I phrase it? Our ability to function on a daily basis is becoming harder and harder.
Yep.
And we, the average idiots that we are, have very little to do with it and very little control.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We are about 5 minutes from World War III. For as much as people wanted to deny it, there are American troops firing American weapons over on the other side of the world right now. Vladimir Putin has threatened to attack France. Okay. And I say all that to say this. Esports in NA has failed. Esports as we knew it is over. It's done. All we have left is the influencer outrage culture. That's all we have left. That's
God,
it.
I hate that so much.
I know.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, you know, and see, the sad thing is that North America has basically become the warehouse, the manufacturing, you know. Yeah, like that's what North America, even Europe, like, yeah, you know, like, we have basically become the garage of esports, you know, because, like, yeah, 'cause everything is, you know, and guess what, even that may not last very long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because as we know, Saudi Arabia is building a esports city right now. Not a hub, not facilities, not a venue, a city. So you know what that means? That means that look, look, by the time Saudi Arabia is done, you're gonna see more outsourcing in Indian call centers. Okay, you're gonna see a
Yeah.
lot more
Yeah.
outsourcing in that. And to be quite honest, North America did it to itself
Mm-hmm.
because we lost focus. We lost focus on what's important. Because that once that participation trophies became the norm and everyone just needed to be included and
Right.
no one see, North America, we have gotten so comfortable with being the creator of a lot of things, we forgot what it means to actually struggle to actually qualify for things. Like that's why you have regions like Pakistan, South Africa, Vietnam, like even Malaysia and Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying to rise up because that they basically had to start from the ground up. They didn't have a strong foundation like North America has. So and we got complacent. And if you don't know, complacency leads to a lot of things being missed. And it bothers me so much that because that
Yep.
with all of us that we have been there when esports were still in its infant before esports was even a term.
Mm-hmm.
Back when esports to us were basically, like, hanging out and just like playing LAN games, stuff like that. Back when, you can even make a living off it. And the fact that now people see the sad thing is people are starting to notice it, but you're like 5 years too late to start noticing it. Because now people are surprised that you have organizations like Cloud9, Team Liquid, and FaZe Clan and Optic are participating in events like this. It's like, yes, where have you been for the last couple of years?
Yeah.
Because yeah, because moral. Guess what? As much as you want these organizations to care about your sexual identity, your gender, and all that, social justice, it doesn't pay bills. It doesn't keep the lights on. It doesn't. And another problem is that this new generation of esports professionals, they keep wanting to take and take and take, and they forgot you have to give as much as you take. See, and that balance and there's no balance. There's no balance in North American esports because
So so I'm gonna give my first spicy take of the day.
Oh.
there you go.
Because we kind of prefaced it that this is gonna be a little a touch of a spicier episode than what we were used to doing.
Hmm.
I think for causes, social justices and inclusiveness and all that other shit, there needs to be a degree of gatekeeping.
Gee, that sounds really familiar. Who was it? Somebody said that. Wonder who said that. I would
It
like to
was
find that.
some other bald white guy that was
It
on
was
there before.
obviously no one on this podcast that said it. We should find that person and
Yeah.
bring them on this podcast because they're really smart.
Yeah.
Go on.
And the reason I bring this up is because if you look at all the social justice causes, the DEI initiatives, all this other shit that's come down the pipeline, there hasn't been people to reel people in. And so you have people who are using a cause, which, at face value, you're like, oh, okay, this is actually good. I can get behind this. But unfortunately, they're using causes such as this to be absolute fucking dickheads. Fucking Karens, Kyles, however you want to fucking put it. They're using it as an excuse. And so that's why there were so many people who got sorry, a side note, but if you get a corporation to go behind your social justice cause, it's not for social justice anymore. Sorry.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you get the big corporate weenie behind you. Anyway. I saw the look, Jay.
No, the first thing went on my mind is like, yeah, just bite the pillow and just wait because they're
Hmm.
going in dry, no lubrication.
Oh, exactly. And because it's like, if you look at a lot of the videos, especially for marches and stuff like that, like how many people have you seen that do it peacefully? Like shit, marches like this, especially for social justice causes, you can go all the way back to like the fucking 60s. Like you can see this trend of stuff. And so that's why when you have corporations like Cloud9, TSM, Liquid, all this other shit who are like, "Oh my god, Pride Month." They're going to get called out on it. Like a corporation being behind a cause like this with nobody to fucking check them. Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
Well,
it's funny.
Hmm.
I had a feeling this would happen because Black History Month was just as quiet as Pride Month is now.
Mhm.
thank you, Jay. Thank you for making that connection. Thank you for making that connection. Thank you.
Yeah, and how many companies lock their replies? Microsoft?
Oh,
I'm looking at you. Halo? Hmm?
So,
and yes.
Mhm.
okay. I also want to point something else out. I shared this in our chat. How what was it? A couple months ago, probably 4 by now. The National Institutes of Health over in the UK came out against puberty blockers. Right.
Good.
Okay. Yesterday, now an association in America is calling out, or I should say, an association, a medical group. Let me find this tweet. Make sure I get it correct, because God forbid if I'm wrong. The American College of Pediatricians has called out a bunch of other medical groups,
Mhm.
medical associations in America by name, that they have to stop what they're doing. Okay, like I said, this ideology, these beliefs are luxury beliefs. Now, apparently, enough people have died, so now we have to walk it back.
So, sorry. Spicy take number 2 today. Because I know a lot of shit, especially during COVID and all this other stuff, people were screaming, "Trust the science," you know. They were preaching it from upon mountaintop high, you know, shit like that. I want to educate some of the youngins who might come across this, who listen to this, etc., etc. Want to educate you on something. On late night television and daytime television, there have been infomercials, which are commercials, but not. It's weird, but follow me. About drugs, vaccines, etc., that have caused irreparable damage to humans, and therefore there were class action lawsuits that were in play. So if you think for one hot goddamn second that things like these puberty blockers are not doing the same to these kids, go fuck yourself. And I hope you step in a Lego.
Speaking of more things that were lies, as
Mhm.
we're throwing this out, because right all the whole time.
Mhm.
Did you see how the Ninth Circuit Appeals Court decided that the jab is not a vaccine? Did you actually see that? Because I posted that in the chat
Mhm.
too. See, here's the thing. I think the overarching theme that we're kind of poking at but haven't actually defined is everything that we have tried to bring to life that actually creates no value.
Mhm.
Esports is definitely one of those now, because we've proven nobody wants to watch it.
Yeah.
It's a giant lie. It's a lie, because you have lowered the barriers to entry so far. You've dropped them nearly to the floor, that trying to add the structure has actually ruined the process.
Well, again, like I said, they took a traditional esports model because they thought, okay, we're gonna have this franchising. What else
Right.
is really popular in America that has franchising? Traditional sports. But here's the fucking problem. When you have games, okay, like League, CSGO, Overwatch, etc., that do not have a decent balancing schedule, when you have the same, and I'm referencing League, goddamn cookie cutter fucking comps, so when you see for the 100th fucking time the same shit that the teams are using, it's boring. Nobody wants to fucking watch it. And then they're like, well, I just saw fucking Vitality play this, like, not even an hour ago. Why am I watching the same thing? Like, what is the difference? And on top of that, there's no fucking personalities in esports. No personal, like, players who have a fucking social aspect of some sort. They're all just like, I like to play League, and I play top lane real good. And that's it. That's have you guys listened to fucking esports players do interviews? Holy shit. It is the most
it's the most PR scripted things I've ever heard in my life. It is like see this is another thing that bothers me so much about how esports is that it's like esports is entertainment. It's part of the entertainment industry. You know, you see like that's why Call of Duty esports has lasted for so long.
Yes.
Because you have not only you have players, but you have like you have like personalities that have their own watch parties and they have their own opinions on things. Like there's the person I watched last, his name called Zuma. He has he has a show called The Flank. Basically, he and his crew talks a lot. Like it's a lot like Inside the NBA. It's just like that,
right?
Just like and it's like the problem is that there's that so many people are afraid of saying the wrong thing. It's like listen, entertainment is supposed to make you feel different things. Either it makes you mad or it makes you laugh, it makes you amused. It's like because you need something to back. You know, you need villains. You need the bad guys.
I'll give you an example. Like, okay, I want to think. Let's look at ESPN, right? And this is an example of why a lot of people aren't fucking watching esports. Name me 2 shows on ESPN off the top of your head. For like analytics for sports and stuff like that.
First Take and Wake Up.
Yeah, yes. And was it Skip and Sharp?
Skip and Shannon, Sports Center.
Yeah.
No. Skip and Shannon was on Fox. It's called.
Oh, okay. I thought it was on ESPN. That was my fault.
Undisputed.
Yeah.
Yes.
But see, that's the thing. Those are the ones that you can, like, it just pops off your head because you've got guys like, shit, I don't know, Stephen A. Smith, who's got a fucking personality and who's not afraid to tell people to go fuck themselves. Looking at you, Dallas Cowboy fans, assholes. Anyway.
You know what?
Okay.
You know what?
I sense some seriously spicy undercurrents right there, John. That sounded slightly personal to me. What's going on there? What's going on?
I never told you guys this story, did I?
Okay. I am not a Cowboys fan, but I want to hear because your comment right there had a personal edge to it, and it's like, ooh, somebody got hurt somewhere.
So, once upon a time, because I am unfortunately a Saints fan. Rip Drew Brees. Anyway,
Yep.
So, I was in New Orleans with a friend of mine from high school, right? And so we're going through this store, and you know, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of cool Saint stuff, and I'm like looking through stuff, and she starts giving me an attitude, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And she goes, man, I'm a Cowboys fan. What are we doing here? And she says this not like, oh, you know, I'm a Cowboys fan. You know, what are we doing here? She says it loud enough that 3 people I see turn and face us. And we're in downtown New Orleans, mind you. We're about a stone's throw from fucking Bourbon Street. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to get fucking jumped. And so I had to like fucking usher her and I out the goddamn store before we got our ass beat. Oh my god.
Uh, I feel that way because I got pissed off at Stephen A. Smith because I am a Knicks fan, unfortunately, and the cause like it's like you know, uh, God, it's like it's you see, I feel your pain because I'm a Panthers fan, and Panthers fan hasn't been fun since the Jake Dale home days. Like no disrespect to Cam Newton, but you kind of falter in Super Bowl, so that's hold on story for another day. But it's like, but at the same time, it's like, going back to esports, is that CS:GO won the biggest titles in esports right now, and there's no personalities in CS:GO at all, and
Mm-hmm.
and and the sad thing is that there's so many players that play CS:GO. It's like, okay, like can one of y'all like make content that people can kind of like watch, because people don't want to listen to freaking the same old people saying PR shit. Like, like we need
Mm-hmm.
someone that actually knows what they're doing, and it's really bothersome though, because it's gonna be like this until Saudi Arabia, like, see, that's one kind of glad Saudi Arabia is doing this, because now people are kind of forced to pay attention to how things are now, because now you can't, yeah, because like now there's a whole new major region, and hey,
Oh,
just like
side note,
yes.
I saw some of the clips from the women's wrestling in Saudi Arabia.
Mm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, because that was something I was going to bring up. Okay, so you have the WWE going into Saudi Arabia and getting paid a bunch of money. And did you? I was going to say this last week, but it didn't fit. Did you notice how every woman wore a full body suit?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one wore a full body suit.
Yeah, majority of the women who come out, albeit scantily clad, wore full ass bodysuits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? Please, women, I'm begging you. How are you not upset? How are you not making this bullshit trending? I please explain.
So it's apparently my body, my choice until I'm getting paid a buttload of money.
Mm-hmm. And again, your morals and your outrage are for sale. Like you can't like people can say it until they're blue in the fucking face that they I'll never do it. I'll never do it. Brr. No, you will. It's only a matter of time.
You will. Everybody has a number. Yep. Everybody has a number.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody has a number.
Yeah, it's just like with all these people backing out of esports awards. Trust me, before the end of the week, there will be new people involved. Like by the end of the week, because guess what? When there's opportunities on the board, everyone is gonna go and grab for it, and it's like, and guess what? That's like even your favorite people are gonna go grab for opportunities, because guess what? Opportunities lead to more opportunities, and you could be upset all you want, but at the end of the day, if there is an empty space that can be filled, people are gonna go for it because it's available. And guess what? Esports has always been that way. As soon as there's a void that needs to be filled, people are gonna go after it. And so I'm seeing like people like so upset about it. I'm like, okay, you could be upset about it all you want, but like how do you guys not see this coming? Because it's like, because guess what? California can't, like, California can't even sustain itself, let alone esports in the West Coast. Like New York City is slowly approaching that too. And Florida is so volatile that it can go either or. Because the problem is that there's very few esports events in Florida, major esports events.
Which I don't understand. I don't get it. One of the biggest fucking convention centers is in Orlando. There's fucking Disney, there's Universal. Like, Orlando by itself is huge.
Mhm.
Like, I want to argue it's almost as big, if not bigger, than Vegas.
I don't understand it either, honestly.
Yeah, it's like there's so much shit, and on top of that, Florida doesn't have a state tax. What the fuck?
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I kind of want to shift this. We spent the first half of this glorious podcast with these two fabulous people with me complaining about how crappy things are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kind of shift this and I want to ask this question.
Okay.
I want to see what you think of. I've kind of had the realization lately that gaming is like politics in that politics is local and personal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Gaming is sort of the same way now. Gaming is local, so you have your friend group that you hang out with, and it's personal because the personal experiences, because we've been doing this for so long, the personal experiences matter.
Right.
A really good example is the final shape from Destiny 2. Okay.
Yes.
500,000 people watched the raid race on Twitch yesterday. 500,000 people. Okay. That speaks directly to the power of the game. Okay.
Side note, super quick. Is there a VOD
Yeah.
of that? Because I haven't
Yes.
checked the world's first race.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
world's
yeah.
first races can get intense. I know that,
Yes.
especially on the
Yes.
Final Fantasy side. But go on.
Anyway. Obviously we have pointed out the mass failures of trying to adopt gaming at a competitive level at scale, right? Okay. So gaming is like politics, it's personal and it's local. So how do these AAA studios, how does Sony, how does Microsoft, Riot, Activision,
Mm-hmm.
how do they survive in NA? Because you have at the top, you have the massive games, Call of Duty, League of Legends, Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
At the bottom, you have a lot of indie dev, single dev games that are actually doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
I would classify, even though it's an older game by now, but it's still fairly popular. Phasmophobia. It
Mhm.
started off as a one guy game, and it's grown, but it's still kind of at the upper end of that bottom end level. People love Phasmophobia for what they get out of it. So then you have the middle 75 to 80% of games that are floundering kind of in the middle. You have things like have things like Aliens Fire Team, which
Yeah.
which kind of served as a co-op game but didn't really get much. Then you have like games like a GTFO, same sort of concept, like sort of survival horror kind of games. Where does NA go from here? Where does this region go? Because we've now moved beyond, we have jumped the shark when it comes to competitive gaming. We all know it's either South America or it's over in Saudi Arabia, and if it's not one of those two areas for console and PC, then it's mobile gaming. Okay.
Mhm.
What happens next?
Well, as we said before, games need to be social before it's competitive. So, like, why don't we stop being serious for a moment? So, look, here's the thing: why has NA has not made the esports equivalent of the Ocho? I swear to Christ, if I had the opportunity, I would basically make fun competitions in indie games and games lesser known, just have fun with it because at this point, you try to make esports serious. You try to make it a global, multi-million-dollar industry. Guess what? Richer countries have taken away from you. You know, you are no longer at the forefront. So guess what? If you can't be serious, just say fuck it and just like make it and just like and just make it silly because as we said before, esports is not the end game. Content creation is. So it's like at this point it's like at this point why is NA even want to be serious now? Because it's like at this point you at this point you literally have you literally have the floor to literally do anything anything fun, anything social, and just don't give a fuck about it because at this point, who cares? Because you try to go the PR route, you try to go the serious route, you try to make esports like ESPN, and it worked for a while until richer countries said, "Hey, we can do this better than what you're doing." Like Saudi Arabia, and South America, and Southeast Asia, and with these different platforms, and they're doing it. So for NA and EU, that like at this point, don't like stop being like you have to return to being a meritocracy. You have to return to that because what bring in viewers? Seeing the best of the best. Like that would bring in viewers. Okay, like for instance, why do you think T1 is always celebrated in League of Legends? Because they are the best. They are like the best League of Legends team of all time. Like, why do you think Optic is still praised in Call of Duty, even though they lose more than they win? Because they've won countless titles in Call of Duty all the time. So it's like at this point, we need to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, what made esports even marketable when we had the best of the best playing at a high level? And honestly, mix that in with, hey, let's have the most fun and marketable people play games on stream and just have fun with it because at this point, what else do you have to lose at this point for NA?
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. I like what you said. Do you think that the whole phase optic 100 Thieves kind of head to head activity, you have Nade, you have Banks, and you have Hex. Okay. Those three guys are kind of like the foundation of everything that we have to this point. Do you think their 1v1s and their little streaming, do you think that right there is the start of it, or is that or is that just all for show?
It's all for show.
It can be awful. It was awful show, but it's a great, I think, template to what other people can do because that everybody wants to be a content creator, but they don't really know how to go about it. So that's why you have people like Mr. Beast. Now he's basically saying, hey, all these other content creators be in my videos and we're gonna come up with ideas that all y'all can take advantage of. And after and really that's one of the best way you create personalities is by having those open opportunities to say, hey, if you're good at what you do and you're fun to watch, come like, hey, come to these events. Because like I said before, you know, I mean, like at this point, there's nothing more you can do and it can do to embarrass itself as it already has. So it's like, why even hold back at this point? Like why even hold back? Just like honestly, just throw something at the wall and hopes to stick. Because
Well,
honestly,
that's what I was gonna say earlier. Is one of the biggest things. Like if we take a look at games at the base level, right? So I'm talking about like your single player, fucking Candy Crush type shit, right? The problem gaming has, especially in North America currently, is it's too safe. It's too safe. There's too much of a we'd want to do things in such a way that we're appearing innovative, but simultaneously we're pleasing an audience that doesn't exist. What we need is we need to backtrack and be innovative. We need to try new things because that's where gaming as a whole got its initial boom. You know, like, okay, let's break it down for instance, like with Dota 2, League of Legends. Like, those are the two biggest MOBAs to exist. You've had other MOBAs prior, like you've had Heroes of the Storm, rest in peace. And you've had things that defined a genre. Like, for instance, like, let's go with, like, looter shooters. Okay? Destiny 2 is another example. There's been other ones that have tried to compete with Destiny. Destiny and Destiny 2, I'll kind of group those together. But Destiny 2 is still on top because Destiny 2 does things to change the landscape. But they do it in such a way that's different. The problem esports has right now is they are in this doom and gloom of fucking damage control because they don't know how to recruit. Fucking English is hard. Anyway, they don't know how to get their fucking money back. Because I would venture, and especially with the FTX thing, it put a lot of the esports industry millions of dollars in the hole. Like, not just, you know, the 7 digits. I'm thinking more. Because I'm pretty sure there's some people higher up, especially in the legislative side, that they owe a lot of fucking money to. And that's one of the, I think, the core things that we need to do just to, you know, get things back on track. I think the Saudi route is really fucking stupid. Personally.
Yeah, and I mean, not only that, but you know, we really have to take a look at that barrier to entry, and we probably gonna have to raise it quite significantly because that's one of the symptoms that made esports grow too big, and it was too volatile to handle. Because that, you know, if you had a decent PC and a decent internet connection, you can literally, you know, like become a pro in esports. So I think like we really need to raise that bar, and like basically we need to have higher expectations of who we allow in the esports industry. You know, because we've had so many bad actors that know how to sweet talk people that a lot of investors have backed out because it's like there's too many people that there's untrustworthy. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. Is that, you know, because, you know, they'll probably say, oh, they'll probably say something like, you know, like, we just want everyone to be inclusive. Like, that is your problem. You keep trying to invite everybody in, but if you don't know who you're inviting into your home, you are basically risking it becoming a mess. And that's what North American esports has become. It has become a dirty house, and no one wants to clean it because they keep saying, "I didn't cause this mess." Well, I didn't cause the mess either. It's like, yes, you did. You're just refusing to take personal accountability. Has become a lost art.
Whoa! You said the A word. You need to simmer down, sir.
I mean,
Sorry.
someone has.
Okay, well, you know, it's actually really interesting that you bring that up. Is because one of the things that makes gaming, I will say, interesting, is that you set your own limiting principle, right? Okay. And when you try to appeal to a whole bunch of people, you have to change your limiting principle.
Yeah.
All the time. And so basically, when you're talking about having a limiting principles, what you're talking about is having norms. And one of the things that gaming thrives on is not having norms. And so you find your own community, set your own norms, and when those communities clash, then you have problems.
Yep.
And they clash in the public arena of League of Legends. They clash in these people with different limiting principles and norms clash in Dota and Valorant and Destiny 2 and Call of Duty, and they clash. And that's the problem, is that we are setting our own limiting principles based upon the communities that we are in, but the overarching community of gaming doesn't have limiting principles that match with enough people. So they basically have none. And that is the point that I wanted to get to, is that in order for this to move forward, you have to say no, which it's not like pushing people out, but just setting the social norms for each game. It always bothers me that what people call toxic shifts from moment to moment.
Yes.
And it's always context based. Whatever happened to that female Valorant streamer who muted the guy, unmuted him for the content, and then she fucked around and found out, and then she posts an out of context clip to Riot claiming that women have to put up with this all the time. And she did it to herself because the social norms of the content world are create as much controversy as possible and then profit from it. And that's the problem, is that people do that. They find where the line is. They try to cross it just enough. And then you have the problem with, we don't have any limiting principles.
Yeah.
That guy who said that was no more toxic before he got muted and then after he was unmuted. And when Jay talks about the accountability, that's it right there. And this is the problem that guys have with female gamers, is that they set their social norms. Stop looking at my boobs. Stop commenting about my boobs. Oh, look at my new bra. Look at my new top that drops down to this point and shows off what little cleavage I have. But don't you bring it up first. You're not supposed to. Only I can bring it up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If I never bring it up, you bringing it up makes, you're a misogynist. And why are you here if you're just, well, then why are you just, well, that's my body, my choice. So I get to, and see, that's the problem, is that the limiting principles shift constantly and people are confused. And when they are confused, they won't engage. So esports needs esports and all the communities within Call of Duty, Valorant, League of Legends, Dota, whatever group you want to call it, whatever group you want to go, Rocket League, doesn't matter. Set your expectations and live there.
Oh yeah.
That right there is the best possible first step that we can have.
Yeah. To TLDR, gatekeep. Said
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gatekeeping. Because there's such a stigma. It's like, oh, why are you gatekeeping? And I'm like, but you have to gatekeep within reason.
Yes.
You
absolutely.
have to fucking do it. Like, one of the prime examples in the Final Fantasy community was there was a time that people were letting a lot of the WoW refugees get away with a lot of their toxic shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people turned around and said, no, we're not doing that. That's not what this community is about. And if you notice, all of a sudden, when Blizzard was like, hey, WoW players, look at, hold on. Look at the shiny. Look, we made something you like. And then all of a sudden they came back. Because that's their community. That's what they perceive as their deal. And then all of a sudden, a lot of shit stopped getting less toxic in Final Fantasy. Weird. But to end on a positive note, because I'm sure you guys want to do a little bit of chatting about the Destiny 2 thing. And I bring this up because I saw the Lance Riddick picture. And I thought, okay, you know what? That'd be kind of sweet, kind of wholesome, because Final Shape was going off and stuff. I didn't expect it to go viral.
And see, that thing. So the community loves Lance Riddick because he was always in, when he was talking about Destiny 2, he was always in character.
Yes.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the great, and he played the game. Even though he played as a stupid warlock, I have a hard time reconciling that in my brain. But we're not going to go there today.
Jay was like,
Don't start with. I'm allergic to floofing. I got to take my pill this morning and it bugs the crap out of me. Anyway, Lance Reddick was always in character when he was talking about the game, whether it's on Twitter or YouTube, whatever. And he allowed himself to be memed, and he leaned into it. He allowed the community, even though his character as Zavala was often like he was often a cardboard cutout, but some of his lines are iconic. Whether or not we've won it, we've become involved in a blah 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 on Mars. I don't know the exact line, but people to this day still quote that, and they quote variations of that.
Yeah.
And so Lance Reddick is beloved. His lines are still in the game. If you go in the tower, Jay, if you go in the tower and you go to Zavala, those are still Lance's lines.
Mm-hmm.
His lines are still in the game. So it doesn't surprise me that you posting that it went viral, because you're like, oh, I'll do something nice, and then you're like, 2 hours later you have 400 retweets and 1,000 likes. You're like, what did I do? And you're like, that's it. So back several months ago when he died, there were literally Guardians who loaded into the game and equipped an emote in the game and stood vigil at Zavala in the tower for 12 hours straight. That's all they did. They just stood vigil. And I'm like, he was beloved by the community. Some people like the new voice, some people don't. I think over time it'll be fine. He's a good actor. Keith David is an excellent voice actor. He's been around for decades. He knows exactly what he's doing. He'll be fine. But it's just one of those things, like, for example, when the old voice of Ikora changed for the first, couple of seasons, people were like, but people got used to it over time. So it'll take time. But I saw that. I'm like, General Gravy stirred the pot really, really well today.
But it was weird. I did it. I was just like, I'll just be positive. I think one of the things that I kind of want to feel nostalgic about just for a second, what I thought was really the one good moment that gaming as a whole had was every single community coming together for Lance Reddick's passing. Every single one. And I'm not kidding. The video still fucking exists. Every fucking community. Like, 14 had fucking people who were, like, going in support. Like, it's different genres.
Well, and what helped, what made Lance into the icon that he was is not gaming. It was John Wick.
Yes. God, he was so good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So people, so you know that Lance was like, I'm Zavala and I'm in John Wick. I'm the best. That's all there is to it. I am the absolute best. And that's, I think you could go back to the first John Wick where John Wick goes back in the hotel to get his dog back, and Lance says, yes, he was a very good dog. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and people if you know, if you ever watch Funny or Die, and you ever watch Toys Are Me.
Oh my god!
That is the best skit I have ever watched in my life, and honestly, that's how I first heard of Lance Reddick. Well, that in The Wire. That's that. So it's like I watched it. I'm like, and it blew my fucking mind. I'm like, what?
And that's the thing. He allows himself to be memed, and he leans into it, and that's why everybody loves him. That's why everybody loves Lance Reddick, because he allows himself to be memed, and he just has a great voice, and he like leans into it, and that's why. That's it right there. Lance crossed over into 3 different areas, 3 different spaces, and he stood out for his delivery and his presence and the general awesome actor that he is, and he made it work, and that's why people love him so much. Yeah.
Well, I think that is a nice, wholesome, aside from the rest of this episode, I think that's a good spot to
I agree so much.
God,
I
we were
agree.
just going to full tier fucking toxic just to.
Well, and here's the thing. I didn't even have to be racist at all. It just from the get go, we were in on it. Yes. I didn't have to be racist. I didn't have to make any K-pop references. I didn't have to make any, get off my lawn references. None of that. This was an amazing episode. Amazing.
Yeah, and see, just I guess the time shift really did help.
It does,
Yeah.
and not only that, but for me, it's a low point right now for live events, so I have more time to actually
Aw.
look into things.
Did
But it's-
Princess get his beauty rest?
Actually yes, actually yes, because I had an in-person meeting with my team yesterday. It was fucking
saw that.
amazing.
I saw that.
Yeah, so it's like yes, and yes, and now that I know where I can get fine liquor, Total Wine and Spirits here in Vegas, like yes, when I really want to go to sleep, I'll just get drunk because I can.
Melatonin and CBD. That's a safer bet.
Yeah, I'm starting, I'm starting to understand Bill more, as he I'm leaning into that. You know what? Is my life. If I want to destroy my liver, god damn it, I will, because you fuckers can't tell me what to do. You don't pay my bills.
Not my supervisor.
You're not my mom.
Yeah, shut up. You're not my real mom.
No, have you guys seen Archer?
Oh god.
Oh my god. Okay. Bill, you have Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The entire season from start to finish is on Netflix. I am begging you, watch that fucking show. It is have you seen Arrested Development or Bob's Burgers?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say it's the mom from Arrested Development voices one of the main characters in Archer. Okay. The other example, have you seen any of the Arby's commercials with the guy?
Yeah.
Okay. He voices Archer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of good, there's a Burt Reynolds cameo that goes in the show too. It's worth it. It's super funny. I think you'll enjoy it. But anyway.
All right.
So, as always, gentlemen, we are going to bring this episode to a close, and it has been a pleasure to talk.